Hey everyone, Zero Gaming here. Today we are coming at you with a new tutorial series, Farming Simulator 22. I do realize we are a little bit behind the ball on this one, but it's wildly popular, and just from playing it in the last week, I just had to do a series on this because it's so much fun. There's so many different styles of play that you can achieve, and so many different vehicles, and so many different things that you can do in this game that the possibilities are just endless. Today we're going to go through some basics, a little bit of tutorial on how to get started. We're going to be playing on one of the largest maps that we'll get to in a second. First, when opening Farming Simulator, we have a few options here. We have career, multiplayer, downloadable content. This is basically just your mods and stuff like that. We haven't installed any mods. We are just going to be playing the out-of-the-box version. So we're going to get started here on career. We're going to go to our empty slot here. We have 3 career mode options. We have new farmer, which is easy. You already own some land. And some equipment. The economy is profitable, and gameplay elements are on an easy setting. You have farm manager, which is kind of the medium hard. The standard setting for getting started. You don't own any land, but you have substantial funds ready for spending. The economy is stable, grain prices are decent, and gameplay elements are on the standard setting. Start from scratch is the hard mode. It's the real challenge. The economy is tough, prices are low, and you've already taken out a hefty credit with the bank. Gameplay elements are on the most realistic setting. We're going to go ahead and choose medium. I think that's going to be the funnest for our tutorials. And there's a few things that we will switch off, but let's go ahead and select medium. There's a few different maps that you can choose. Elm Creek is the smallest. It's got the most production chains. It's got the most places that you can sell your goods and services. And this tends to be for newbies. This is the default map. The second map that you can choose is Haute Baileron. I guess this is French in nature. It kind of looks like French land, and the backdrop has balloons and different kinds of things like that. We are gonna go to the next map, which is Erlengrat. This is not my favorite map, but this is the one that I choose to play on most often. It's the largest. It has the least amount of things set up. It has beautiful mountains in the background. It's got water. It's got rolling fields. It's got plenty to purchase. So let's get going on Erlengrat. It's going to take just a minute to load here. This game loads pretty quick. And we are going to go through the basics. I guess the first basics of this would be learning how to plow. So here you have your character selection. I already have my character pretty much set up. I try when I do my characters kind of make it look like me, although I don't have gray hair. I just thought this guy looked pretty good. Maybe he is a little bit inspired by Yellowstone, but you know, you have a whole bunch of options here that you can choose. You can pretty much set them up however you want. Maybe I'm going to change my gloves a little bit. These look a little bit too military. Those kind of look like rancher gloves there. I'm going to choose some rancher gloves. Oh, that looks good to me. I don't need to really choose the color. Although we could go through that real quick. Maybe a little tanner. Yeah, let's make them a little bit darker. There we go. And we're just going to hit confirm. We got our guy. So now it kind of spawns you in the middle of the map. We're going to hit escape since I'm on PC. And you can see we're in this little thing here. We're going to zoom in a little bit. We don't own, because we choose the medium option, we don't own any land. So we are going to go ahead and have to buy some of the farmland here. So we're going to hit that X key or click. And you can see we have field 43, which we're on, or 30. We can scroll out And you can pretty much buy any of these fields here. As you can see, they all come with their price tag. But since we're already here and we are going to try to be setting up a working farm, this plot 43 here kind of offers us the most open place that we can expand and kind of be on our own. I like to play games like I'm really living the adventure, so I want to kind of be on my own here without any industrial plants set up and stuff like that. So as you can see, the value of this land is $330,000 and some change, actually half change. And our balance is $1,500,000. We're going to go ahead and hit spacebar and buy this. It always asks you for confirmation. And I'm going to go ahead and buy plot 30 because plot 30, as you can see, offers a nice square piece of predefined field here, as in where 43 you have this kind of like weird curvy things where it's not plowed yet and you kind of have to make your own field. I want this dedicated field already. I want that field already. We can actually go ahead and go to here and see what's growing there already. It says that it's growing barley. And you can see that it's growing. So this is actually going to be a great field for us. It'll offer a little bit of income because we'll be able to harvest right away. We're going to get to the filters in a minute. But let's go ahead and buy this one too. It has a value of $285,000. But we still have $1,169,000 and some change. So we're going to go ahead and buy it. Now we kind of have our farmstead, our homestead lined up here. We're going to go back, get out of there, and I'm going to show you our property real quick. The reason I bought this is because you kind of have this nice little patio here. Not patio, but paved area where you can begin to set up like your farmland and any housing that you want, or, you know, sheds or anything that you want. Up here is also our land. I'm going to show you that. This is unplowed. It shows you the field info. It's owned by us. It's just grass, ready to harvest. But it doesn't have like that nice square shape as we purchased over here. Now, not unfortunately, but in this game there's kind of no third person point of view when you're running around. It's only kind of first person, which is fine because when you're in different tractors and stuff, it offers you that view. So we're going to get over here to our rectangular plot. It takes just a second. And by looking at the field info, as you can see in our right hand corner, you see that this is sorghum. It's growing. The yield bonus is 75%. You're not going to understand that at first, but we're going to get to that later. And it's 50% fertilized. So what do these things mean? And what is our first step after buying this land? So this is actually a crop. It's a grain. And it can either be sold or you can feed it to animals or whatnot there. And it's August. So in August, I think this is ready to be harvested. And how do we tell whether things are ready to be harvested or planted? Well, for that, we would have to go over to our little side menu here. Scroll down. And see here you have this little calendar thing. Now this is the crop calendar. This tells us when things can be harvested and when things can be planted. As you can see, because we bought this field, this is actually ready to be harvested. It's harvest season. So, what does that mean? How are we going to harvest this crop? Well, there's two things starting out. When you buy land, you either have to plow it or you have to harvest it. In our case, we are going to be harvesting. But how do we harvest things? Well, we need to buy the proper, or rent or lease the proper equipment to do that and to make some money off this land. Now let me show you the quick way that you can tell if things are ready to be harvested or not. We have this little filter kind of thing here, and this shows us what's growing, what's seedbed, what's cultivated, what needs to be harvested, what needs to be plowed. Shows us the soil composition. This is actually fertilized. These big red areas show that they need to be plowed, etc. Hotspots are like things that we own, loading stations, tip stations, all that kind of stuff. So that's just the beginning. I don't really need to go through this stuff in depth because if you're just starting out, these are obviously all the things we click on. Next is our active workers. This will contain our AI workers. Like I said, this will be our crop calendar. This is our weather and what's coming up. It looks like it's going to rain today. This will be the price for the crops. As you can see, this shows where we could actually sell these different types of crops. You can tag the place and highlight them on your map so that you can get to them. This will be our vehicle overview. We don't own any vehicles since we're just getting started. This will be our finances. As you can see, we've already on land this month, we have exceeded $600,000. This will be our animals. This will be our contracts. You can take contracts out to make a little additional money. You don't need to own the equipment. You can actually hit this borrow button and it'll just deduct a little bit of money from what you're making. As you can see, it says if you borrow your own equipment, if you borrow equipment, it'll deduct $720 from this price here. So you'd actually be making $4,000 and some change instead of $4,800. Here you have production chains. That's a little bit more involved. We'll get to that. Your statistics, your playing, how much has gone, and your game settings. And here I'm going to go ahead and name this. I like to choose silly names, so I'll just choose Oscar the Grouch. Autosave interval, that's fine. Timescale is 5 times. You can change this, but 5 times is the default. And I find that, keep in mind that 1 day equals 1 month in this game. So 5 times scale, you can speed it up, but the workers and your plowing and stuff like that does not speed up at the same time. And you kind of need this scale in order to get everything done that you need to get done. Economic difficulty, you can change this to easy, normal, whatever you want. We'll keep it on normal. Now the seasons, as you can see, days per month. This is all, I don't mess with any of that stuff. But the seasonal growth, I think that I am going to turn that off. That'll change this calendar so that the planting and harvesting seasons no longer apply for us. And that'll just make it easier for our tutorials and allow us to do more. As you can see, that option now goes away on the sidebar. We'll hit save game. And back to our fields. So in order to get this, oh, there's one more setting that I think we should shut off. And that is, now in this game, if you drive over crops, you actually ruin them. And I think for just learning purposes, we're going to shut that off as well. Because this, if you make a little misstep and you drive over crops with your tractor, it actually ruins a portion of the crops. And you can test that out on your own accord. But we don't really need that option enabled. If I was playing for real and I wanted, to have the most realistic settings, I would leave that on. So we're going to go ahead and go back. We're standing in our field. So what is the first thing we need here? We are going to have to rent or buy equipment. So first we're going to actually buy some tractors. You have a few different, we're not going to go through all the tractors. This is just a getting started type of video. However, usually to get started, I get a large tractor and a medium tractor. And I have a few of my favorites. So for the large tractor, I'm going to go ahead and go with the base model here. I actually beefed this up. It adds $60,000, but it also adds a good deal of horsepower. As you can see, I'll show you again. Its base horsepower is 296. By beefing this up, you actually gain an additional almost 200 horsepower. Well, 100 horsepower, 115. So I do that a lot because we want the most horsepower. And for really plowing a field effectively, or towing very heavy things, you really need a lot of horsepower. And the ratings, all the different equipment show you ratings. But for this, we are going to beef it up. There's a few different options that you can do here, different tires, etc. You can also change the wheel setup to include weights. Now the weights are good if you're like doing different things, like you have front loaders attached where you're doing baling or stuff like that. You can actually do twin wheels, which I typically, on my larger tractors, I always choose twin wheels because these are the tractors that you're pretty much going to be using to plow your fields. I don't know if in-game it actually gives you better traction, but I did notice that at higher speeds it gives you a greater level of stability when you're turning and stuff like that. What you don't want is, you don't want to get a tractor that you're going to primarily use on the road and give it this twin wheel setup, because it's going to make it just a little bit too wide to pull things and get into certain spaces. You're going to see that after we buy it. I like this license plate. You can, pretty much write whatever you want here. We're not going to do that. I like the main color black. I like my stuff blacked out. Okay. And we are going to go ahead and buy this Fendt 900 Vario. This is actually a beautiful piece of equipment. And it does come with a pretty hefty price tag, which is only going to leave us about, not that much money left. But this is an essential thing. You also have the choice to lease this. I'll show you how leasing works. Basically, it gives you a base cost, a per work day, a per work hour, and then the total. So this $18,130 is what you pay per day to lease this vehicle, which is a good option if you are only going to plow one field, or you don't need to buy every vehicle to get things done, as you're going to see when we as I show you how to harvest. Well, so we just did that, and the reason I did that is because I'm going to show you where you can see your leased vehicles. Here it shows you your leased items. If we get out of this for a second and we go to our balance sheet, you can see that in August, which remember is one day, vehicle leasing cost here is now $18,000, and this would continue down the line. So in September, then we would have another $18,000, etc., etc. So it would take a long time to get to $300,000, but if you're gonna use a tractor for any long-term kind of project there, then it doesn't really economically make sense to lease. So we're going to go down to our lease vehicle tab here and go ahead and return this because we want to buy, and we did lose $18,000, but since it's a tutorial, it doesn't really matter. So that has been returned. There is one other interesting thing here that I'm going to show you. This is the used vehicle shop. You do have a lot of different options here for cheaper type of, if you wanted to buy vehicles. This is actually a pretty good deal here. It works the same way. But I actually don't like this joint, how this one drives, so I won't be purchasing this. But every month this shop kind of changes and gives you different kind of options there of things to buy. It's kind of random. You don't know what's coming. So I'm going to go back to the large tractor, to this Fendt. I'm going to set it up the way we wanted it. I'm going to get some cool tires on here. We'll go with the Midas. I'm going to get those twin wheels. The license plate is fine. It's on the front and back. We're going to go ahead and purchase this because we're going to use it throughout our series. And you can purchase your vehicle at the shop. Now you can see we have a balance of $510,000. Typically, when I'm starting out, I buy two tractors, one large, one medium. You will use both. You need one for transporting, you need one for plowing, etc. My second favorite tractor in this game, if we're going with medium tractors, is this Deutz Fahr. As you can see, this is a very nice looking vehicle. I like the Warrior configuration. It adds this nice smokestack here. I'm going to change the rim color to black because I really like blackout vehicles. And for this one, I'm not going to give it the double tires because this one I'm going to use on the road. You can see it has a top speed of 60 miles per hour, which is pretty good. I'm going to use this one on the road, so I kind of don't want it to be wider. I will do wide tires and weights, though. I don't want to give it double tires, so. And I'm going to pick a more aggressive tire, I think, here. I like these, let's see. Yeah, those are knobby. I like those. So we'll go with the standard. Look at that, and that looks super aggressive. Yeah, I'm into that. So this is my favorite vehicle as far as medium, but it does also have a hefty price tag of $241,000. But we're going to go ahead and buy that. Now we have two tractors. We still have a balance of $269,000, and we do have the two pieces of property. So we're in good shape. We have enough to lease and stuff like that. The second thing we're going to do while we're here at the shop is, if you remember, we bought that piece of property which already has crops that are ready to harvest. We are going to have to figure out which harvester to get. We're going to go with the Dutzfar. They have a cheaper option here, but if you can see here, it shows you how much it can kind of hold here. This is 4,900 and this is 8,500, so it's almost double. That means that the vehicle is going to stop less and you have to empty it less in order to plow your land. And since we have a pretty big piece of land, we are going to go ahead and go with this upper one. You can see they just kind of go up with as you go, but this one to me kind of makes the most sense because it's $129,000. This actually has combinations. As you can see, it'll show you all the headers that are acceptable to put on this. And we are going to go ahead and get all these things because we're going to need them to harvest our land. So, first thing we're going to go ahead is get the trailer. Why do you need a trailer? Well, you don't really need a trailer if you just have one header, but it's nice to have because the trailer allows you to use the AI option, which allows you to drive to the place automatically. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to load these headers on the trailer. Sorry, just had to take a sip of water there. So we're going to go ahead and hit details, and we are going to lease this because we don't need this forever. I showed you what the leasing did. We are also going to use the Topline 4090 header, which you can see harvests these different types of crops. One of them is the one that we have as well. So you actually have to pay pretty good attention to this. We are going to lease this one as well. You can see it gives you 1,530 per day. Hit OK. And then we're going to go back and we are going to hit back again and we are going to customize the main machine here. I mean, this really doesn't matter. It's just really for looks. I'm going to put a license plate on this. That doesn't matter either. This is kind of like a weirder looking video. But still, like, that's a pretty, I mean, not a video, a weirder looking vehicle. But this, it's still pretty cool. I think you're wondering, wow, what can this thing do? This is gonna really chop down some crops. So we're gonna go ahead and lease this as well. As you can see, the base cost is $2,624 per work day per work hour, leaving us $6,691 for the day or month. Click yes, and it says you can click it at your shop. We're gonna get out of the menus here, and as you can see, we're still stuck in our field. Question is, when you go to your map, how do you get over? You have to find the store, which is this little icon here. We'll scroll in. It looks like a little shopping cart. You can see here they give you the little icons of the things you've either purchased or rented. As you can see, there's our two tractors that we bought. But what we need at the moment is this Topliner 4090 here. So how do I get there? Well, we're on PC, so the simplest thing to do is push tab, and that is the quick vehicle entrance. So once you hit that tab button, you can cycle through all the different vehicles you own, as you can see. There's our large tractor, there's our medium tractor, and there's our leased vehicle, which we will use to harvest. Now, by pushing C, you can actually see the inside. And look, this is beautiful. This tractor gives you the option to actually change driving directions, which I will show you here. If you watch my character there, let's scroll in a little bit, and you hit this left shift and B button. This gives you the ability to drive backwards, and this is useful when you're using certain tools. We won't be using that right now, but you can see that's a road call option. Not all tractors have that option, like the medium tractor that we got. Ford does not have that option. And by pushing C again, you can see that we're in first person view, and this is just really cool. Let's get over to our Warrior. I call this the Warrior. The inside of this is beautiful as well. I love how the buttons are laid out and the branding on this. But as you can see, this does not have the option to drive backwards, but we don't need it for this tractor, because this tractor we're going to be using not only for plowing and cultivating, but we'll also use it to pull things on the street, because it doesn't have that double tire setup. And then we're going to get over to our top liner, which is the harvester. This is not as cool inside, kind of basic. This is pretty much a tool for doing what we need to do. And we are going to show you how to attach the header. So in order to attach the header, you basically just have to grab up to any header that you lease, kind of line it up just like this, and then it'll give you the option there by hitting Q. It shows you how to attach it. And then you could actually drive it like this all the way to the land, but the thing is, you cannot hire an AI worker to drive this for you unless this is actually on a trailer. So how do you get the header on the trailer? Well, it's very simple. There are two kind of little, let me see if I can scroll in and show you. You can see that that is kind of slanted there, the trailer. You want to always get on that slanted side, line up the vehicle. Doesn't have to be perfect. It really doesn't have to be perfect. You hit that Q button to detach it, it falls on there, and it'll snap into place on its own, as you see there. Now this is pretty much ready for transport. We're going to go ahead and line it up. Push Q, and now we are ready to get to our field. I'm too good at driving this thing. I'm gonna have to back up a little bit. Gonna get stuck here a little bit. Okay, maybe we'll just... What in the tarnation? Okay, so we're just gonna probably go right over the foliage here, since it's not cooperating. There we go. Now we can hit that H key, and we can go ahead and set a destination. And we want to come up here to our field. We're going to line it up here. And you can see that it'll start driving over to the location. We're going to hit that tab button. We're going to go back to our cool tractors here. Just want to show you some things about what I was talking about with the double tire setup. First, I'm going to show you that if you buy a vehicle and you decide it's not the setup you like, you can always park it here. Hit the E key, you hop out, go over here, and this will actually be dealer options. You can customize it again, change it again, etc. So if you buy a vehicle and you don't like how you set it up in the first place, you can always go ahead and change that. So these will be the same type of deal. You can hop in them, hit that escape key, get to your map, set a destination for it, and kind of let the AI do its thing so you can get all your vehicles in one place pretty quick. Now keep in mind, whenever you use AI workers, it actually does cost you money. You have to pay for it. Now this is one of my favorite. This is just, look how aggressive and how attractive this tractor looks. I mean, this is just, it's so dope, I don't even know what to say about it. But we're going to go ahead and get all our vehicles up here on our property. Well, first, there is something that I missed. So we are going to get ahead and get ready to do our harvesting. And in order to do our harvesting, we are going to need a trailer. So let's pop into our vehicle menu here. And we're going to go over here to trailers. Now we're going to, it's a pretty big field, so we're going to need a good trailer. We're going to go over here to this Brantner. This is pretty low. Now, some of these higher ones are better. They have a lot more storage capacity, but the issue with them is sometimes unloading some of these harvesters are a little bit too tall. So I'm going to go with this mid-level one here. I'm going to go ahead and change the color. You know, I like my stuff blacked out. Change the tires. We're actually going to buy this vehicle because we're going to use it so much. So you can add the extension there, but we don't want that. You can make it a bale trailer. But we're going to go with standard. We want the cover. And you can see it's total price of $41,000. Still have $260,000, almost $261,000. So we're going to go ahead and buy this. And that's what we'll use to transport our crops to selling locations or, you know, it's one of the pivotal things in the game. So in order to attach any kind of trailer, any kind of tool, you kind of just have to back up to it and line it up pretty close. You could either do this in first person or third person. You know, kind of doesn't matter. Sometimes it's a little bit easier in first person. As you can see, it's hard to kind of get the keys right. So you just kind of back up to it, and you can see it tells you that you are ready to attach. So we're going to go ahead and use our AI menu, and we are going to get over here and pick a target location. Actually, let's not do that. Let's pick a different target location because we are going to want to get closer to how this works. Now that's off. We're going to hit that tab bar, and as you can see, we're over here. Now, as you can see right there where I drove through the crops, you can see that that actually damages crops. So if you're a newbie, one of the things that you're probably going to want to do is go down to settings, and you are going to turn this crop destruction off, as I showed you before. You don't have to do that in order to play the game, but it just kind of makes it a little bit easier because sometimes the AI themselves can't destroy crops, but if you just run a little bit into it, it kind of wastes some of your money. So it's just one of those annoying things. So I typically turn that off. Now, in order to detach this trailer, we are going to hit the Q button, and to reattach it, it's the same way that we kind of put it on there. Just gotta get lined up here. And it'll give you the option to attach it. We're gonna back up. Oh, even though I turn off crop destruction, I still play like it's on. That's funny. There you see our other AI worker is coming. We're going to go ahead and try to line this up as best as we can. Now, these harvesters kind of drive a little bit funny here. So you kind of want to be laid in a straight line. We are going to drop it, turn on the B. We're going to unfold it, which actually opens the storage. Turn on the beat, and you can see we have our plow running. Now I'm going to go ahead and hire the AI to harvest this field for us. We can do that by lining it up. We push H. Now see, we're not close enough to the field yet, so the AI worker can't take over. This is a little, not tricky, but like, gotta kind of mess with it a little bit sometimes to get the AI worker to take over. So, as you can see, it still says no field found. Etc. So, what we're going to do in order to get this solved is we're going to turn on our thing, lower it, turn it on. We are going to start ourselves harvesting. Now, why is this not working, you ask yourself? Well, let's figure it out. Gonna go back to our menu here. And we're gonna go back to our filters. Now our filters are gonna tell us everything that's going on here. We're gonna go over to our land over here. So we might have been a little bit premature in thinking that this was ready to harvest, and I'll show you the easy way to figure out how to do this. So you go over to filters and you can see that our type here is barley, and we go to growth, which is, it's very dark green, so it's growing, but it's not this color orange yet, so it's not exactly ready to harvest. So this will not be ready to harvest for another month yet. So we were a little premature, but that's okay because we have our lease vehicle for next month. And in the meantime, what we can do is get started on plowing some of our fields. So we will do that in the next episode. I hope that you guys found this episode informative. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna do a lot of things on this journey, and we are gonna do. You're gonna learn a lot, and don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to hit subscribe.